Video, dear children, we shall be learning about evolution of organisms by stages. Complex organs have been created bit by bit over generations, or we can say that their formation is gradual process and will take millions of years to happen. Here we will see how evolution takes place in stages and how different varieties of cabbage that we see is actually a result of evolution by artificial selection. Let us see the example of evolution by stages. If you look at the structure of the eye, it is a very complex organ. But could such a complex organ be developed by a single change in DNA? Such an organ must have been created in stages over many generations. Let us look at the eyes of planaria. We find some eye-like structure at the top. These eye-like structures are actually the eye spots that detect light. These rudimentary eyes provide survival advantage to planaria. Starting from the very basic, more and more complex eye structures were developed in various organisms and have reached the stage at which we see them today. The development of eyes gave survival advantage to all the organisms. So evolution of eyes is an example of evolution by stages. Another example is of feathers, which are thought to have been initially evolved for insulation and later adapted for flight. Now we will see an example where a new organism can be created from a very same basic design of their ancestor. The wild cabbage plant, which is used as food by us, is an example where new species have been created from the existing ones by the process of evolution. The only difference is that we are using artificial selection instead of natural selection. The farmers have been cultivating wild cabbage as a food plant for over thousands of years and by artificial selection. They are generated variety of species like cabbage, red cabbage, broccoli, cauliflower, kohlrabi and kale. It was as per the requirements of the farmers or consumers that such species were artificially made, like less space between the leaves led to the evolution of cabbage. Some wanted arrested flowers, so broccoli was evolved. Some farmers went on developing sterile flowers which did not pollinate and gave rise to cauliflower, while some farmers chose the swollen part of the wild cabbage and came up with kohlrabi, whereas other farmers chose large leaves of wild cabbage which gave rise to a new variety, kale. So all these varieties of vegetable had a common ancestor, that is the wild cabbage.